Hi, I'm Debbie,
And I'm Jan.
and this is the Villages 365. And today we were going to talk to you about our favorite months, but before we start the video, we just wanted to say thank you all to everybody who watches. And just so you have a little history on what our situation is here in the Villages, is both of us have been around for a long time.
Long time.
We've been called long in the tooth, actually, by somebody who watched a video once. So, okay, we'll go with that. So, I bought
I've
my
been called
home.
worse.
I bought my home in 2001 and we retired in 2015, and that's when we moved down here full time. And
We bought our first house in '05, and we bought this house in '09, and we've been Florida residents since 2010.
so there you have it. So you have a kind of an idea of, we have a little different perspective than some of the other YouTubers. I see more and more people doing it, which is great. The exposure has been lovely to the Villages, but some of them are newer, and so we're just trying to give you the old timers perspective. So we just kind of thought we'd go through each of the months. So as far as January goes, for me, some of the good things are, if you were visiting here, remember, is that you're probably getting out of somewhere very cold.
Yes.
And
And that used to be with us years and years and years ago. So, yeah, it would be cold. And the average temperature here in January is 71 for a high and 52 for a low. So, if you think of January in Iowa or Minnesota or Canada, that sounds mighty good.
yeah, I think that's one of the biggest things that's good about January down here. Now, just so you know, that's kind of when the season starts here as far as visitors go. So, January in the Villages tends to be, and I think in Florida in general, to be honest, but January does tend to be one of the busiest months here.
Yeah, very crowded. Restaurants are crowded. Streets, roads are crowded. But it's kind of fun to have everyone down here because then there's more people watching.
Yeah.
Which is kind of something we get to. And the squares are full. The restaurants are full. And you can get a frost or a freeze in January here.
Yes.
You can't, I mean, even though it says a 52 low average, last December, when we get to December, we had some cold mornings, and we have some plants that look a little
Maybe.
sick.
And to
But-
me, in my mind, December and January are the two coldest months. I don't know what the statistics are, but those are the two that feel the coldest to me. So,
Yes, they are.
and
December and January. But we've had some really nice Decembers before, too.
we have. It's nice though during the day. You can get up. It's cold. Well, the problem is I go through 18 outfits. My husband hates it because my laundry basket's stacked because I wear cold stuff in the morning, then I take off pieces, and then it's 70 during the day, and then at 2 o'clock it starts to cool up, and so pieces go back on, and so you have to dress in layers.
And you need to, when you have guests, when we first moved here, we had lots of people come visit, and they didn't bring a coat or anything. And I looked at them. I said, when the sun goes down, the heater's
cold.
gone, and it gets cold.
Yeah.
And if there's any kind of a breeze, you're going to be cold. And now it's even colder to me because we've been down here so long, so
Yeah.
we're spoiled.
It does feel even worse.
Yeah, but it's like when you come visit sometime, bring something warm because it can feel
be
chilly at
chilly.
night. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
What do you think about February?
February, it's a little warmer, high of 74, low of 54, so it's pretty much like January, and you still have the traffic. You still have a lot of seasonal people here and renters here. February, we see a lot of people come because they're tired of winter, because up
Yes.
north they've been December and January, and pretty soon we'll get a phone call. Can we come visit? And we've always told people, come on down. We don't have as many visitors as we used to because some people have moved here. So, but yeah,
totally
you get tired
agree.
of winter, and I remember those. And
Yep.
it's sunny here almost all the time. I didn't look up that stat, but when we go back and visit the kids in Iowa, it's cloudy and cold and ugh.
Yeah, and the good thing about visiting then is that, as Jan said, that is one of the better times. That's where we used to go even when we didn't come to Florida. When we lived in Illinois, every February I was like, I'm fed up. We had Christmas, so then January I was kind of cleaning up from Christmas, kind of like, okay, I need some chill time. By February I was crawling out my skin.
Yep.
I just had to get out of there. So wherever it was, we were headed somewhere. One of the downsides about visiting in February is if you're doing a monthly rental, you'll only get 28 days as opposed to 30. It goes fast.
It does go fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the people
We
that
met
are
a
here
lady
then,
today that that she's going home, and they've been here, what she said,
She said
2
2
months,
months.
and she had that look on her face like, I don't want to leave.
Yeah, yeah. But it goes fast. I will also say though, in my mind, sunblock is almost more important in February and March because I spend a lot of time outside, playing my different sports, golf and tennis and all that, and the sun is just at a different angle, and it is much. I get
The winter,
more.
yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah,
Yep.
more sun for whatever reason in February and March than I do
Yeah.
even in the summertime. But I think because the sun's further up and all that stuff, it's maybe it's still hot, believe me. But
Yeah.
I feel like as far as the UV rays, like as
And
far
it's
as the tan and
very
the burn.
bright. Like when you're driving and you're in your cart and stuff, it just seems like it's brighter than usual. I don't know what it is, but I'm like, oh, the winter sun is killing me, you know. But
I think it's
yeah,
the
it's
angle.
it is.
Yeah.
It's weird.
March is a nice month to visit weather-wise, and now you're kind of coming. So February is the heaviest seasonal person month here.
Right.
January and March are kind of equivalent. I feel like you get two different groups. So I feel like January is more adult stuff. March we start to see more kids because spring break is happening.
Yeah.
So you see more families. I feel like here.
Yeah.
And the temperatures are nice. That's all still
78
good.
for an average high, 58 for low, and then you have St. Patty's Day, the Strawberry Festival,
Blueberry
Plant
Fest.
City. Yeah.
Yeah.
Plant City has a huge strawberry festival with bands coming in and everything. Our neighbors went there. I think we might go there next year.
Well, and
We'll film
depending on Easter, that's also Mardi Gras. So the villages, any reason for a party is a reason to have a party, and so they do have a blueberry festival,
That
a
was
strawberry
just last
festival.
weekend, yeah.
They have the balloon festival. They have the Mardi Gras. So there's a lot of activity in March.
Yeah, and I think they do that because everybody's here, and then the kids are here, and it's really fun to see the kids because they, you know, the pools are full, and that's when you might want to go to an adult pool if you don't feel like seeing kids, but
Yeah.
I kind of think they're cute.
Yep, it's
But
fun
yeah,
to see
March
to
is,
get the
and then
light.
it's starting to get, and you might start seeing love bugs. They kind of come more
Yeah,
in
they're patchy.
April, but
Yeah.
if it's been a warm winter, they come out a little early. But yeah, that's our favorite, right? Love bugs.
Yuck.
So April, the high is 83 for an average and the low 63. And it's a very nice month to be here. And I feel like if Easter's late, people that own homes might stay longer if they have kids coming, or if it's still cold up north, they might, you know,
Delay their return.
delay their return. But it's one of my favorites.
And I was gonna say April is, I want to say, my favorite. We have her favorite is also one of my favorites, but I have two favorites. So April is one of them, and mostly because everything does start kind of winding down. We're able to get around a little easier, get into golf a little easier, get into restaurants a little easier. We went out to dinner last night, and
Walked in.
and
Yeah.
everything is good. So it's when there's a lot more people here during the seasons. It's, you know, anytime pretty much January through March, you're going to face a lot of people. And so it does start to wind down April, May, the summertime, and then it kind of picks back up again in fall. So, but basically, the April is good for, I think, weather,
Yeah. Low humidity.
low humidity.
And the nights aren't as cool as when the sun goes down as March is. So,
Yeah, because now the time has changed, so we'll see what that
Yeah.
happens in Florida. They're trying to keep the time change permanent, but anyway, at this point, we still have the time change. But I think April is, if I were coming down to visit, April is definitely high on my list, is what I would do.
And April is cheaper to rent. You know, the height of the season, January, February, March. So you'll have a price difference for, and even I think December is starting to get in there now because people are coming earlier when it gets cold up north. So April and May are going to be good deals if you want to come down with still stellar weather.
Yeah,
Then
without
you can rent
so
something a
much
lot
heat.
cheaper.
Yep, yep.
May, high 88, low 69. And here come the...
Yeah, love bugs. And I have to say, for me, the golfers apparently are having really good shots back there.
I think somebody just chipped it in.
For me, I still love May also. May,
Still.
it's very sunny. It's not super rainy yet. That's when you're going to hear me start complaining. And not complaining, but complaining in a good way. But May is a nice month also, but it does start getting hot. And when you're doing activities like bicycle riding or playing tennis or anything that is super active, people start to have a hard time in the afternoon because I find, back in Illinois, they always said the peak sun was like at noon, like 11 to 1, they always said was the peak sun. Down here, it's at like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. That's when it really is the hottest.
That's when you feel your skin sizzling.
Yes.
No, I'm just kidding. It doesn't really sizzle, but sometimes I think it is.
I think it smells like it sometimes. But yeah, but to me, I like May for that reason.
Yep.
And
it's
to your
less
point,
crowded again.
Much less crowded.
Yeah. So people are thinning out, going back. And I think that May, especially around graduation time, that 1 week or so that, like, we're flying back for that. And I think that a lot of people are going back for grandkids' graduations and college graduations, high school or whatever. And there's a couple weeks in there that it's really like, where'd everybody go? You know, so.
And that's kind of how June ends up entirely. Once
Yeah.
June hits, I feel like then all the people that are going to go somewhere are gone. Pretty much, right?
Yeah. If they're, the Canadians go back and
Or if you have
people
a
that don't
summer home
yeah.
up north or whatever. Yeah, I think June's almost like the big exodus, which makes it great again for the golf courses because you can get on with no problem. Like if we just decided, let's
go
get
golf.
nothing to do, let's
Yeah.
go golf. It's like you can get on. In the winter, you can't do that here. It's
not really.
No.
Not unless it's really cold and windy and rainy, then maybe you can get on.
Yeah, or you wouldn't want to play.
Yeah.
And the nice thing if you're a golfer is it gets a little drier, and so then your ball runs farther. So, but it does start the season. So that's when hurricane season starts, is June 1st.
Yep.
So,
Through November.
and typically they don't hit that early.
No.
So I would feel comfortable coming down in June if you're thinking about moving here, it's a good experience to kind of experience the different things. So it depends on what you're looking for, because we have had people ask us, well, when would you suggest we come? Well, what are you trying to test? Are you trying to test how cold it is in the winter? Are you trying to test how crowded it gets in the wintertime? Are you trying to test to see if you could stand the heat in the summertime? It kind of all depends on what you're trying to test. So we're trying to give you an idea of different things that happen each month, so you kind of have an idea of when you may want to plan your visit based on what you're trying to experience.
Right, and we did that. When we had that house, our first house, we came down every month within that 4 year period to see what it was like, because we had a lake house in Arkansas, which is very hot. And so we were just kind of testing to see what it was. So we had all 12, because the
Months
first year
covered,
we came here, it was January, and it was 83 degrees, beautiful, warm, and the little guy down the street kept saying, not normal. If you think this is normal, it's not. And he was right. It wasn't normal, but that year it was awesome.
My dad moved down, and he said this first winter was cold, and he was all grumbly. I didn't move down here to be in jeans and sweatshirts and stuff.
2010 was the same
But
way. It was cold.
It happens.
Yeah, it was cold.
It can't be perfect, but these are some things to think about. It's
Right.
not all about the weather.
Right.
Some of it's about the other experiences here.
But June, average high 91, low 73. And then it kind of starts getting more humid. July, high 92, low 75. And then August, high 92, low 75. So those, I used to run half marathons in the fall. And I'd have to train in the summer here. And I tell you what, I would be soaked. I mean soaked.
Yeah.
Because the minute you walk out in the morning, it's very humid until, especially early in the morning, until the wind picks up and kind of blows some of that moisture out.
But then a lot of times what happens before that is the storms come.
Yeah.
So if you're out on the golf course, you're out on the tennis courts or whatever,
It
out
rains
doing
a little bit
pickleball,
every day,
whatever,
yeah.
then you get that rain, and on the things like the tennis courts or the pickleball courts, it's over for a while. I mean,
Yeah.
golf, at least you can kind of go back out there, but anything that has the courts and stuff, it's a problem. So
Well, and then sometimes it will rain just enough and then pass. Because, here, it can rain real quick and it's gone. Then the sun comes out, and then the
Then you feel
humidity goes up.
Yeah.
And you're out on the course going, oh my gosh.
And so a piece of advice, though, if you do move here, live here, whatever, one thing we learned our first year was don't quit your activity by looking at your map.
Yes, no, 'cause
in Illinois, the storms will come across Iowa, so whatever they just got 3 hours ago, we're going to get it. And if it says it's going to rain, it's probably going to rain. Here, it's so patchy, and the way that the systems work,
pop up.
they pop up, or it says you're going to
disappear.
get 80% chance of rain, and it doesn't rain. And when we first moved here, we canceled so many plans, and then I'm like, now we're sitting in the house doing nothing.
Yeah.
And it
No
never
point.
rained.
And look at it. It's,
Yeah.
it's nice outside. Where's the rain? But yeah, I mean, you can see it on the radar, where all of a sudden, boom, there comes
out
up
of
some,
nowhere.
and then you go, oh, here it comes, and
It
then it's gone.
disintegrates.
So yeah, that's summer.
But July and August would be a good time if you wanted to test yourself in the heat and the humidity. But also, it's a good time to be able to experience a lot of the villages without having a lot of people in your way, to be able to do the things you want to do.
The squares are very not empty, but you can get a seated square.
Well, and it's a nice time to be, because I will say, those are the nights that I love being out driving in the golf cart, because it's still like 85 degrees out, but it
there's
feels
a
so
breeze,
good.
yeah.
Yep,
There's a
driving in the car,
breeze,
and
yeah.
so it keeps me warm instead of being cold in the evening.
Yeah.
So it's a great time to go see the square and the music and stuff.
Yep.
And a lot of full-time villagers have gone on vacation
Yeah.
because it's hot and humid and wet here
Yeah.
during those months.
Well, it's hot in Iowa in the
Yeah.
summer, and Missouri in the summer, and Arkansas. So anyway, on to September.
Yeah.
High 90. This is average, not every day. Low 74. And the love bugs may start in September, October. It kind of depends.
And just so you know, they're attracted to white. So
Yes,
don't wear white.
anything white, because they will be all over you. And
Yes.
they're really slow until you go to hit them, and they go boom. But they come at you. They come at your clothes. They get in
Yeah,
your cart,
they
and
like
don't
white.
sit on them, and wash them off your car.
Yeah.
They're whatever's in
They're
their
acidic.
guts. Yeah, it'll eat your paint.
Yes.
And the car wash up here has a special spray they put on them before they run through the car wash, because it is very hard. So if you go on a trip and you will have them plastered
Yep.
all over your car, you want to take them off as soon as you can.
Yep.
All right, are we
But
into
September's a nice month, though.
It is a nice
Overall,
month.
it's a nice month. It starts cooling off toward, I would think, the second, third week of September. It starts to
Yeah.
cooling off down
Yeah.
to the 80s and stuff. So it's still hot at the beginning, starting to cool off, and then we start to see more people come back. So we start to see people who have two homes starting to come back in September. So it's still not busy, still a good time to see things. And again, if you're thinking about getting involved in the activities, so if you're a new resident here and you're thinking about getting involved in the activities, summertime's a great time to get involved in those activities, because they're
not
looking
full.
for subs for this or that, or for whatever activities, whether it's cards, mahjong, blah, blah, blah. They're looking for people to help fill their groups because certain people are gone. And then that's how they get to know you. And then they're like, I kind of like her, so let's
Yep.
figure out a way to
Yeah.
get her to stay. So
Right. Yep.
it is a good time to get involved in the groups.
Yeah,
So,
and there's and a lot of these groups in the wintertime, they're very full. Is it Roomba?
Yeah.
And aerobics and all these things that
Everything.
are in your rec centers that are
Yep.
free. They
Zumba.
get really
Zumba.
Zumba. Yeah, Roomba. That's a gig dance,
It's
isn't it?
it's a vacuum, isn't it?
That's a
Roomba.
room.
A
Is a
Roomba.
Roomba's a back? Who knew?
Did you know?
Did you know? Okay, I'm old.
Okay, so yeah,
all right.
October.
Now we're in October. 8468, great month. Great month. My grandsons are both their third week in October, and they're still little. That's their birthday, so I have to miss a week of October. But it's the traffic's still good. It's you see it picking up a little bit. October is a wonderful time, and that's our favorite. The Halloween parties here are pretty. People go all out for Halloween.
Yep. Yep.
So if you're into Halloween, this is the place.
Yep. And the villages has their parties,
Yep.
and then there's a lot of private parties and too.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny to watch that whole week of Halloween.
Yeah, they have
You'd be
a big-
driving your
yeah.
golf cart and you see people like Princess Leia and Darth Vader maybe or something like that. But it's really cute to see everybody in their
I
costumes,
went all
so.
the way to Sumter years ago in my Princess Leia outfit with the buns and everything. Nobody even looked twice, and I'm just like, seriously,
They're like,
you
just
think
another
my
village
hair's like
weirdo.
Nobody wears his hair like this except for Princess Leia. But yeah, nobody. Mhm.
That's a
No.
fun month.
Yeah.
November is an interesting month, I think, because our weather is great. So that's
Yeah.
that's a good thing. But a lot of people here, of course, still have family other places elsewhere. And so I feel like the first couple weeks is like normal, but then I feel like you start to see,
Towards Thanksgiving.
a lot of a lot of people coming down to visit their families, and then you see a lot of people going up to visit their families. So I feel like it's kind of it nullifies. I feel like it's kind of just a constant. But a lot of people are here. You'll see a lot of kids again because it's Thanksgiving break and all of that.
Right.
So you do get to see a lot of kids and stuff. The weather's fantastic.
It is really nice.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, and I think everybody's just starting to get ready. It's funny because the villages will start putting up their Christmas trees then.
Yeah, they put it up pretty. They have Christmas tree lighting parties at every
Yeah.
square.
And that's not until the beginning of December, but these trees are
Humongous.
massive, so it takes them some time to set it up and everything. So it's funny because around Thanksgiving-ish, they start
Yeah.
assembling
Doing
the
that, yeah.
trees.
And people start putting their lights up.
Yep, yep.
And there's some real decorators around here.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's and it gets very festive. And then December, high 73, low 55. So it's a little bit like January. We can have a really nice December. We had a
Yeah.
really cold December this year.
To me, it is always the coldest. I just feel like it always
Yeah.
is the coldest month.
The first year we came down here, it was like December 30th was warm, or 31st for New Year's Eve was nice and warm and hot. January 1st, it was colder than cold. And I'm like, how did it know that it's now January that it's going to do this? But that was that one year. But yeah, you can have really, really good weather and you can have some cold weather.
And I think, again, December kind of goes hand in hand with November. I do think more villagers have come back now. But in November and December, I feel that more villagers have come back that are have homes here.
Yes.
And are
Our renters came in
are
November
staying.
and December. So
And did they? Yeah. But I do think that then we get a lot of the kids on vacation and stuff. So Christmas break, lots of kids on the square, and it's such a fun time to go down and watch, the kids on the square. So it kind of just depends on. We thought we'd kind of give you an idea of what the flux of people and the activities are, just so you can kind of plan your own visit. As far as living here goes, I mean, I agree. I think April and October to me are kind of my favorite months as
Yeah.
far as living here goes.
Right. And weather-wise, it's stellar weather.
Yeah.
So it's not it's not rainy yet, or it's done being rainy. But in the summer, it's sometimes
gonna be
2
what it's gonna
minutes.
be.
I
Yep.
mean, the rain's
You
2
never
minutes,
know.
then you're done. Then you're hot.
Yep, you never know. So, but anyway,
I would test it out if you're serious about buying. I mean,
Yeah.
the lifestyle. Is there a limit on lifestyle?
I don't think so because we
Yeah.
have, they charge for it, so they're paying
yeah,
for it. So,
right.
and I have some friends, they came down 3 or 4 times. So I would say they probably don't care. As long as they're hoping they're going to sell you a house, I don't think they care
Yeah.
how many times you come
Yep.
down and visit. So,
That might be the way to do that, or rent.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Anyway, hope you found this kind of helpful. Thanks for watching.
Like and subscribe. Thank you.
Have a great day.